Dan was thrilled to secure a world-exclusive interview for his History Hit podcast with the 74-year-old Hollywood star. A real history buff who, it turns out, is a huge admirer of Sir Winston Churchill. When the actor joined Dan, he revealed he modeled his own political career on the legendary wartime leader while Governor of California from 2003 to 2011. "It's the biggest exclusive I have landed, after a lot of hustling," Dan says. Arnie is passionate about Winston Churchill and knows everything there is to know about him. "But while we chatted at length about him, my challenge was to try to get him to say, 'I'll be back,' his famous line from The Terminator. He kept saying, 'I love it in Britain, I keep wanting to come back here.' I joked to him, 'If you only had some sort of catchphrase that reflected your desire to return to a place that you love.' His reply was, 'Get to the chopper,' from his 1987 film Predator, which I thought was actually very funny. After much banter, he gave "I'll be back" to me in the end and we both couldn't stop laughing. Apart from Tony Blair and director Ridley Scott, Arnie is probably the most famous person I've ever had on the podcast. Next I am going to be talking to the cast from the movie Operation Mincemeat, which has wonderful actors like Colin Firth in it. Apart from presenting award-winning documentaries on the BBC, Channel 5 and the History Channel, Dan runs online subscription channel History Hit TV, the Netflix for history buffs. He began hosting his History Hit podcast in 2015 and it now receives more than 1 million listens each week. So who else would he like to have on as a guest? Any of the royals have got an open invitation, he declares, before adding, "And I would like to have Kenneth Branagh on to talk about the explorer Sir Ernest Shackleton. I am doing an exciting series of programs next year to mark the 100-year anniversary of Shackleton's death. He died on January 5, 1922. Don's next TV appearance will be tomorrow, in a celebrity version of BBC One's The Weakest Link." Formerly hosted by Anne Robinson, the new series is fronted by comedian Romesh Ranganathan. Dan is up against comedians Russell Kane and Maisie Adam, actresses Nina Wadia and Leslie Joseph, ex-athlete Chris Akabosi, tennis coach Judy Murray, who is mum to players Sir Andy and Jamie, and Made in Chelsea star Georgia Tofilo. "It is such an iconic show," says Dan. "I used to love it when I was a student and we used to sit around and watch it all day. It's great to be able to reinvent these shows for a new generation. I never did the original so it was super exciting to be invited." Anne was definitely more aggressive in her style, although Romesh gave me a good roasting when I got one really easy question wrong. Luckily, it wasn't a history-related one, but I entirely deserved it. The show was filmed in Glasgow and Dan, son of TV journalist and historian Peter Snow, wasted no opportunity to pack a little more history into the trip north. He says, "I got up at 6 in the morning to take a picture of Dumbarton Castle at dawn before I went into the studio. It's on a massive rock at the mouth of the Clyde River and it is one of the great strongholds of Scotland, so I had a little hike in the hills above it and watched the sun come up." One show he reluctantly turned down is this year's Strictly Come Dancing festive special. "I love dancing and I was asked to do the Christmas show," he reveals. "I would have loved it but I am super tall, 6 feet 5 inches, so I would look really gangly. However, the main problem is that I currently have tendinitis in my right arm and hand. It's either too much writing, texting or tweeting. I've got these shooting pains and it is miserable because I have it pretty much all the time. Every time I pick something up, it sends my whole hand into a spasm, so picking up a glamorous dancer would not be a good idea. It's the first time I have ever had it. I must be getting old, in falling apart. I just turned 43 this month. So for now, my Strictly dreams have been shattered, but I would still love to do it one of these days. He suspects Dad Peter and his cousin Jon Snow, the recently retired Channel 4 news presenter, must have been approached back in the day. It is nearly 20 years since Stan presented his first history program in October 2002. After graduating with first-class honours in history from Oxford University, he co-presented the BBC's 60th anniversary special on the Second World War battles of El Alamein with his father. "I would love to go back to Egypt to retrace our steps, although so many of the people we interviewed have now passed away," he says. Father and son went on to work on the BAFTA-winning programs Battlefield Britain and 20th Century Battlefields. While making these, Dan flew Second World War planes, was gassed, shoveled muck in a London sewer, caught pneumonia and trained as a sniper. But he admits that he enjoys the freedom of making his podcasts. "Now I can do what I like, and if I want to go and dig up a king next year, then I can do that, and I don't have to go and beg the BBC or the Discovery Channel," he says. "It is really satisfying to work for yourself. I've done a lot of podcasts from home this year, but in 2022 I am doing a lot of TV. Hopefully I am going to historical sites around the world like Pompeii for History Hit to revisit that story and to tell it to new audiences." While he is keen to get back out on the road, Dan supports erring on the side of caution while the COVID crisis continues. He says, "We need to have vaccine passports to get into events and larger venues. It makes total sense. We've had vaccine requirements for various things, and I've had yellow fever certificates since I was a kid. People would be more than welcome to not have the vaccine if they wanted to stay in their own home, but there is no human right to be allowed to go to the theater, a gig or a nightclub." Don's firm views on dealing with the pandemic have put him at odds with his friend, Coast presenter Neil Oliver. Neil, 54, claimed last month that the pandemic is over and opposed government rules on mask wearing. Dan says, "I love Neil as a guy, but I just completely disagree with him. I wish he wouldn't say those things. Neither of us are experts in public health, and people need to listen to the experts at this time. I have told him that I disagree with him, and it breaks my heart as he is so smart and talented, and then he is giving out advice like that. If you are lucky enough to have a public profile, which we do, we need to think really carefully around how we speak out in public. We worked together on a show about the Battle of Trafalgar in 2005, and since then we have compared notes and had a laugh and a glass of wine occasionally. But I think it would prohibit me from working with him, and it might affect the way that I mix with him in the future." Born in London, Dan, who says he is no fan of Brexit, has dual nationality thanks to his Canadian mother Anne Macmillan. And he admits he has thought about moving to Canada and leaving the New Forest in Hampshire, where he lives with his wife, criminologist Lady Edwina Grosvenor, and their 3 children, Zia, Wolf Robert, and Orla. Dan says of his Canadian heritage, "I lived there when I was a kid and I used to go there for university holidays and work in the mountains. It has always been part of my life. My sister lives there too." But I love this crazy little island that we live on and I can't help that. It is my first love and I will always be here, I think. I feel very comfortable with our funny little eccentricities. Dan appears on The Weakest Link Wednesday, December 29 at 6:30 p.m. on BBC One.